I think we might be live. I'm going to check really quickly, but I think we're live, Dougall.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Okay, let me check my feed, but I feel like we are. That sounds so funny. Let me check my feed. I think we're live. Hey, everybody.
Everybody.
We are live. Here we are with Dougall. Yes, we are live. Yay!
Woo!
I think we might be live. Okay, wait a second. There we go. Let me shut off this volume there so I can see comments. Yes, we are. Lori's here, and Sean is here, and Shani's here, and Janice is here, and Tanya's here.
Oh, I have to go over here to see that. Oh, there they are. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Jody. Hi, Lori.
Yeah, some people just come in as Facebook user, but that's okay. But I can see who it is. Like I'm toggling between the actual Facebook page and this. And Debbie's here, and Janet's here. Oh, Janet, it's really late for you. She's overseas in the UK, so it's
wow.
11 o'clock. Well, that's not really late.
It is in my world.
I know.
I make it to 11 o'clock. I'm like, this is like a frat party for me.
Without the beer, right?
Exactly.
We love this. We love this book. You guys,
Aw.
everybody gives Dougall some love and how much we absolutely love his book. Thumbs up, hearts. Say, we love you, Dougall. We love you, Dougall.
That's so sweet.
I'm all a little crazy. I've been reading it everywhere. Like I'm taking it everywhere. So it's like a mess. But I'm like there, and I actually highlighted a few things. I wanted to share something with you that I just fell in love with. So, hey, everybody, it's Liz Dawn and best-selling author Dougall Fraser.
You make me sound very fancy.
Right? No, but there's something so beautiful in here. Oh, I should have doggy-eared it. It's just, I mean, you know, this is not a book just about color. This is this is truly just a teaching book. Here it is. One of my favorite parts. You ready? Drum roll, please.
I'm nervous.
Yes. What I am trying to say is you can be your own spirit guide if you are open to it. Ultimately, we are all made up of energy. Our essence, our soul, our vibration are part of a much larger universal framework. And I feel it is the same with our intuition. We are all surrounded by a tremendously loving voice of guidance. It is not broken up into separate entities that only exist outside of us. We can absorb this guidance whenever we want, just like a plant that is nourished by the light of the sun.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. Can you expound on that a little bit? And then we're going to get into questions, guys.
This is sort of based on my spiritual journey, and then as becoming a spiritual teacher, watching people, or I should speak for myself, I sort of used to give my power away. I love things like tarot cards. I literally have them right here. I've got books, I've got crystals, I have all of those things, but that sort of compulsion got ahead of me, of wanting to know who my spirit guide was, wanting to know who my channel was, wanting to know if this was the right deck, if this was the right stone, if this was the right everything. And the more I sort of evolved in my own spiritual journey, I have found, and this is my experience, that when I really go within my being, it's sort of one unified voice, one unified energy. It doesn't come from a card, it doesn't come from a stone, it doesn't come from all of those things that I was searching for. And sometimes for me, I have to remind myself that that energy is always available, and I don't need a tool, or I don't need a teacher, or I don't need an intuitive to tell me those things. That kind of information comes from within. Oh, so that's what I'm talking about there.
It was just so beautifully stated. And I don't know if it was just the time that I needed it, but I feel like everybody felt that same way. It was like this big, like, relief. Like, we have to continuously stop searching outside of ourselves. And of course, we've learned this, but just the way you placed it in my heart was it just melted my heart. It just opened up to that possibility, opened myself up to more possibilities.
And it's human nature to want to reach out to people and want to reach out to things where, you know, clothing and tools and people and voices and all of the, right, and all of those things. I think it's natural, but I also think for me, it can get ahead of me. And I forget the simple wisdom, the simple information. And so that's what I was trying to convey in that space.
Oh, it was just so beautifully stated.
Thank
And
you.
I know that we've all been I've been talking to the group this entire month and popping in and talking about the colors and the different colors that I've been activating. And I know it's really interesting because after I read that piece of it, then I started to say, okay, is this something that I'm imagining? But there is a vibration to things. To me, I feel like there's definite vibration with colors.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and that's what this heightened for me. This whole experience has heightened those vibration of colors. Okay, so all right, so somebody is saying that I'm clicking sounds. Am I okay? Tanya, would you let me know if I'm okay here? Everybody else seems to. Somebody's saying I froze. Let me find out who that is. That's saying it's a Facebook user. Frozen with clicking sounds. Okay, Janie is saying that probably my internet speed, but I think we're okay. Janie, it might be on your end because I think we're coming through okay. Sounds fine. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, we're good. Fine here. Okay, good. All right, so we've had some people write some questions in, and so I'm just going to get right to it.
Yeah, please do.
All right, cool. All right, let me open up this document. Here we go. All right, Janice had a question, and I love. Oh, our whole team was into this, and Janice is our red coordinator. She goes, "Don't get to ask him this question."
Hi, Janice.
Hi, Janice. Okay, Janice has asked, are we born with a certain color energy, and does it stay with us throughout our life?
So, Janice, I hear this question a lot, and I'm sort of curious about it from a psychological perspective, because I find that when it comes to auras and energy, people really want to be one color. And I'm not entirely, well, my hunch is that as human beings, we sort of want to feel like we understand everybody, so we won't be caught by surprise. You know, so if this is a Gemini, we can be like, I know Geminis, or this is what a great thing about or whatever it is. I feel like we want to understand people. So technically speaking, there will always be a color that is sort of leading based on your personality and where you are and how you think maybe on an average day. But the hardest thing for me to explain to people is that color and energy changes during the entire conversation. If I'm doing a reading for someone, I will ask your higher self to lead with one color based on what's going on right now. Show me one color that will really help me sort of zero in on what's going on in your life right now. But technically speaking, a variety of colors.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. We change. We're constantly morphing.
Constantly, which again is what makes life so great. What'd you say?
I'm tripping. Sorry. I want you to wear gold. I have like little pieces of gold on because I've been activating gold, and but I'm schwitzing. So there we go. Which you know what schwitzing means, of course.
Of course I do.
Of course you do, David. Oh God, of course you do. All right. So someone else has asked here. Okay, there's actually a comment here, and I'm going to go to the comments because I think this is an important question to ask.
Okay.
Leslie has asked, when my granddaughter was dying, the two colors she loved were black and pink. Is there any meaning to this?
Well, so the black part is sort of interesting to me because earth tones are so incredibly powerful and quite literally represent the goddess and represent the earth. So if your granddaughter was close to her transition, there is a part of our physical body that gets shed and returned back to the earth. It's like cosmic fertilizer. We become a part of the greater scheme. We become an extension of a tree, an extension of a flower, an extension of a river. It's part of what we're supposed to do. So it makes sense to me that she would be drawn to that. And pink, of course, the color of self-care, the color of self-love, this is compassion, this is connecting to yourself. Sounds like your granddaughter was incredibly intuitive that she would be drawn to those vibrations at that delicate period of time. Makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, let me find my Word document again. So Janie Nobles has asked, is my body spirit attempting to bring itself into balance? Background information. Several years ago, I was told by a naturopathic doctor to get rid of everything in the red-orange color family because it had too much chronic inflammation. So I gave away all my magenta clothes. Magenta is her favorite color. Bought all blue-green clothing. Now, as I look at my great room, I see huge paintings of salmon and red poppies, flower arrangements of salmon and red poppies, painting of a lion, etc. You guessed it, salmon. Oh, there's another painting. It's right. They're all that color. On an orange brick fireplace mantle. What do you think?
So it's interesting to me, and I don't want to contradict, just sort of a different perspective. It's interesting to me that a healer would have you remove a color entirely. I understand going through sort of cycles of color and maybe focusing on a different spectrum for a while, but I've never been great with removing something entirely. Like the minute you tell me I'm not supposed to eat sugar, I've got my face in a pile of sugar. The minute you tell me caffeine is bad for me, I'm like freebasing coffee. So extreme elimination just does not work for me. And playful energy, right? So going towards blues and greens for a healing journey, I think is fine, but I don't think we have to be void of any specific color. I'm a big believer in having this incredible tool belt of whether it's colors or number energy or angel, whatever you're drawn to, but this incredible tool belt that you can play with as you need. It's interesting to me that you're drawn to so much salmon. Let's sort of bring that more into that sort of pinkish energy, which again is about self-care. If you've had a lot going on with your physical body, and I was curious while you were talking if you've ever had scoliosis, because there's actually a little bit of it feels like an imbalance physically in the skeletal system. But anyway, if you've been on a big journey with self-healing, it would make sense that you'd be drawn to pink because that is all about self-care. And lots of us as spiritual people tend to put self-care on the back burner. So I think that's sort of popping up in different parts of your living room, popping up in different parts of your consciousness to remind you that it's okay to take care of self.
Oh, I love it. Now, you had, I'm scrolling through the comments to see if Janie is here. Okay, Janie is here, and she's the one who asked the question. So, all right, I'm scrolling to see if she has anything to say about the scoliosis piece. Because
specifically, it was like the shoulders and the hips that just felt like a little bit off.
Okay, and you're tuning into that just based on just her vibration.
Yeah, so it's kind of unique. As soon as you start telling me, asking a question, I sort of feel like what I describe as a symposium of energy kind of comes into the room. 50% of it is me talking, and then suddenly I feel a gentle tap, sometimes not so gentle, of the universe trying to get my attention, and they'll lead me towards, and I happen to have a very slight issue with scoliosis. It's really, really minor. So then I get the sense to talk about the spinal system, to talk about balance in the skeletal system, how balance plays a role in her life. So that's sort of how it manifests for me.
Ah, love it. Okay, let's talk about black for a second. I get this question a lot because there are a lot of people that just like to wear black a lot and the color black.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? People who have a tendency just to wear all black, like all the time, every day.
So highly creative people tend to be very drawn to earth tones. If you look at a lot of fashion designers, most of them wear all black. And I think it's because they're so stimulated and their consciousness is constantly coming up with new ideas. They're grounding themselves. A lot of performers do that as well. They will, if someone's really, really creative, they wear one color. In the last chapter of the book, I talk about using black when I was going to speak at the Oprah Winfrey Network, and yes, I did just drop a name, and I was so nervous. And I know going, they were like, oh, the guy who talks about color is coming. He's going to be, people expect me to be like in chartreuse and walking through in like a rainbow jacket. But that day I really needed earth tone. So I wore gray pants, I wore a black sweater, because I was so ungrounded. Like the thought that she could walk in the room, I couldn't handle that. So I used it to ground. So earth tones are so great for grounding. And again, if you're so what you want to think of, the reason if someone wears a lot of dark clothing, the reason for that is their energy is so expanded with concepts and ideas. Earth tones help them streamline it and ground.
Do you hear that, Linnea? My niece is watching.
I used to wear, if you live in a big city, people tend to be more drawn to earth tones because space is a premium. So if you're getting on the subway every day, if you're getting on the bus every day, if you're constantly around people, you're pulling your energy in with earth tones. And so you notice it more in larger cities as well.
Wow, it's so interesting because my niece went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and she's a performer
Of course.
and has an exquisite voice, and she just wears black.
Yeah.
I'm like, could we throw in some pink here?
Well, what's interesting about that, Liz, too, so music especially, so with music, you have to be so tuned into finding the rhythm and harmonizing all those things. So it's such a focused color, which again is represented in those earth tones. So I'm totally on board with her.
And everybody's going, yes, I'm wearing black. Who else is saying, yes, Linnea.
Right, Janice, when she moved to Seattle, she started wearing all black. So when I moved from New York to LA, suddenly I was way more interested in wearing color, which was interesting to me.
Oh, because there's more space in Los Angeles.
I live in a house. I'm not in a building with other people. I'm not commuting in the same way. And my energy felt it was a little bit easier to expand, which is another thing I love about the aura. Because so again, the aura is constantly changing. And the simple note of expanding and contracting the energy is a huge one. So right now I'm expanded. I want to be seen. I want to connect with people energetically. But later, if I have to go out and run an errand, I pull my energy in, not to protect, but just sort of maximize my energy.
Got it. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Lillian has a great question. She says that she's been strongly drawn to purple with her crafts, with clothing and photographs. How do we know if we are, this is a great question. How do we know if we're on the shadow side? Because I've got tons of white. I think I've shared that with you.
Yeah.
Tons of white.
So we're always engaged in the shadow side a little bit, a lot. Every single human being is engaged in the shadow side. And this is something that it took me a really long time to learn. Yes, I'm a spiritual teacher, but sometimes I'm full throttle engaged in that shadow side. So no judgment with that. The shadow side is just teaching us how we respond to things. So with purple, we're talking about leadership, and you're drawn to it with your crafts. I wonder if you've ever considered hosting a group where you teach other people to connect with their creativity. Purple's all about leadership. It's empowering other people. Sometimes if you're not fully engaged in the leadership, it can be a little apathetic, or you're moving away or procrastinating from your leadership qualities. So I'd host a circle. Lots of people want to feel connected right now. You could do it through Zoom. Teach people to create a craft or something that would make them feel so good, and I think you'd love that.
Oh my goodness, Lillian, I think you just got a reading, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go back to the document that people sent in some questions, and we've got questions on the board too. Okay,
that's an interesting question. Ooh, do you mind if I jump in on one?
No, go ahead.
So on my end, it says, Facebook user, how is orange related to feminine divine? I intuitively link them. So that's a very interesting thing to ask, because orange is directly connected to intuition. It's defined as the color of balance and perception. It's the combination of psychology and spirituality. I see it around incredibly intuitive people, and intuition is technically part of feminine energy, right? It's feeling things, it's understanding things, it's being able to connect with other people. So your knowing that orange sort of feels feminine and connected to intuition is incredibly accurate. That was a great question.
That is from Rabbi Tamra Colton, who just wrote a book called Oranges for Eve.
I'm writing that. Oranges for Eve?
Oranges for Eve.
I will be buying that today.
Tamra Colton, and
Tamra Colton.
She's a rabbi.
Cool. You know, my ketubah is orange, so it's all coming together. Yeah, when we got our ketubah, one thing I had to change about the ketubah is normally only have 2 people sign, but I was like, you know what? We're 2 men getting married. We're changing all the rules. So we had, we had 12 people sign, and I really wanted it to be orange because the balance of lives, and now I'm feeling emotional. That was so cool. Thanks for asking that question. I'm going to get her book.
Beautiful question, Tamara.
Yeah, that was a great question, Taylor.
Oh, that made me all mushy.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Where's my Word doc again? Okay. We have a question from Hilda. Okay. This is a little bit long.
Okay.
Could you explain a bit more about alternating emerald green and blue? She read the chapter on emerald green first and worked with it for the last 2 days. As a translator, I'm creative with language, and I feel happy about expressing myself with things like singing, designing my garden, cooking. But where painting and drawing and writing are concerned, I have this barrier to cross. And now I realize it's because it is much more personal.
Mm.
Let me see if I can get this. The fear of being mowed down by criticism is so strong she gets paralyzed. Going through the green chapter again, I saw your comment on using both blue and green. So I read the blue chapter and realized that I should face these fears, but how should I go about activating both colors? She said she loves being surrounded by color, with lots of colorful hearts she put in here. And your book is so inspiring. Thank you for writing it.
Thank you, Hilda. That's sweet. So first of all, you're so right on with green, and I loved your knowing. You stated that you're a translator. So part of being a translator is sort of unifying and highlighting somebody else's voice. But you've also talked about your own creative expression. And as a writer, as an artist myself, as a creative person, whenever I present something to the world, I feel incredibly vulnerable about it. I just started a show on Unity Radio last week. I've done radio for years. I hosted a TV show, for crying out loud. After the first live show on Unity, I felt so raw and so vulnerable because I was in my voice. And when we express things to the world, and I don't say this to scare anyone, we are opening up for opinions. Some people are going to love what we do. Some people aren't going to be into it, and that is okay. But when you hit that sweet spot, Hilda, where you feel vulnerable about what you're presenting to the world, you are going to move energy. Whether people agree with you or disagree with you doesn't matter, because as a healer and as an artist, you've moved energy. So I think give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to feel comfortable with this new space. Let green strengthen your voice, and let blue give you permission to face the fear and not be afraid of it.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
But I've never had, I don't know about you, Liz, but that vulnerability for me creatively has never gone away, ever.
Yes, me too. Me too. Yes,
it serves me in a weird way sometimes.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't paralyze me. It's curious to me, but it has never gone away.
I know. So this is really interesting. He's only done this when Radley was on.
Really? Oh, who is this?
This is Puck. Yes, he's named after Puck from Midsummer Night's Dream.
So sweet. Hi, Puck.
Fall into my lap. He's like, please get up there. I don't know what you're doing, Mom, but he's got to be a part of it. So he's sitting on my lap.
I love it.
All right. Okay, any other questions that you want to post? Go ahead and post, and I'm going to go ahead and continue through. This next question is great. This is from Judith Adair. She was diagnosed with autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, several years ago. She takes anti-inflammatory meds. She's advised to eat an anti-flam diet. What colors do you advise wearing, eating, and using? This is a fantastic question.
Yeah. Okay. So specifically for what you're talking about, there's a color called rose, which is hard. It's not in the book, which is hard for me to describe. It's when I see pink, when I read about pink in the book, it's pretty bright and vibrant, not quite neon, but it's pretty bright and vibrant. There's another sort of shade of pink that's very soft and very sweet, and I call it rose, and it's all about flow. So even when you talk about what's going on with your physical body, I feel as though it's under a microscope. I feel your intention of wanting to be healthy, of wanting to be strong, but it almost feels like it's too much attention, if I may. And so rose is about flow. A lot of times I'll see it in the joints of people. It's about movement. It's about stepping into things. Most human beings on the planet will have a period of time where something physical manifests that's challenging. Most of us are going to have some version of that. Rose helps us flow through that. I've had major issues with my back before and a herniated disc, and I just felt so stuck and like I just couldn't fix it. It was so challenging. Rose helped me just flow with that. What am I learning from my body? What's going on? Place it in your joints. It's a very, very helpful color to just let energy move.
I love that. What about, I just got like a full body goosebumps when you were talking about it, because I get like my hands and, you know.
And everybody, and this may be sort of a controversial statement, having body pain or an issue with your body it's not a flaw. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean you haven't bought the wrong chakra with the right crystal, or your chakras aren't clear. It's part of the experience. These physical things that house our soul are so incredible. They're doing so much work. When I get up off the ground now in my mid-40s and I hear a crack, I feel gratitude for it. That crack has seen a lot of things. You know, we're allowed to have hiccups here and there. So just let your body flow. Sometimes we put a lot of pressure on being of the utmost perfect health.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Other quick question then. Shani, would you go ahead and put your question in here? Sorry, not your answer. Shani, would you write your question in there again? Because I don't know if you posted a question and I missed it. So go ahead and repost it. What about, what is good for like low adrenals and exhaustion and stress, like stress, adrenals, that type of thing? What colors help to nurture that? Because that's something a lot of us are going through right now.
So I talk about, this is another color that's hard for me to explain. And you know, it's funny, you guys, I had no idea how particular people would get in the book. So I talk about mint green, or what I often call electric green. And the reason I call it electric green is it's one of the only colors that I can actually hear. So I'll see this color around kids giggling. I'll see it around a woman who's newly pregnant. I'll see it around someone who's really healthy and really vibrant. But green people, this again is totally foreign to me, they have a ton of energy. Like my husband leaps out of bed in the morning. It takes me a good hour and at least a cup of coffee and a half to even get motivated to put my contacts on. But mint green is like life force. That's why you see it around a new pregnant woman. It's life, it's energy. So if you've got an adrenal issue, if any brain fog or anything like that, you want to use this sort of mint electric green. And the other thing I love about mint is I think of the herb, like it's so fresh. You put mint in water, it just wakes things up. So this is a color that really wakes up energy.
So interesting. For the first time ever, I'm growing mint.
Oh, really?
I'm growing mint, I'm growing basil, and I'm growing rosemary. I've never grown anything.
And what's the funny stereotype about mint is that if you put it in your garden, it will take over everything. Well, that's the same thing as electric green. It's so much energy. I'll see electric green around comedians a lot because they're funny and they're raising the vibration of the room. So whether it's your adrenals or you're bored or you're not motivated, this mint or electric green always raises the vibration.
Okay, so, all right, I'm trying to see. Okay, hold on. Shani, oops, I posted it right there and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, wait a second. That wasn't with my meaning. All right, so my son studied law. He's anxious, highly intelligent, but is partially colorblind, greens, reds, browns, etc. Okay, so let me see if there's let me go to this page. There's a question.
Interesting though, Shani. So electric green is not a great color for people with anxiety because it does sort of have that cosmic caffeine sort of feeling towards it. So it's not a great color if you lean towards anxiety. But as far as being colorblind, you know, I've actually had students take my courses before, someone who was actually physically blind. She used to be able to predict the next color that we were going into before I'd even tell people about it. It was incredible, her experience of it. So if seeing the color is too much of a challenge, then we just go to the energy behind it, the definition, the vibration, the concept. But if your son leans towards anxiety, I don't want to make him feel more anxious if he's having a hard time understanding the color. So you can talk about all that stuff without even going into the specific color and just teach it in that way, or have him focus on a color that he can actually visualize so he feels more grounded.
Oh, love that. Okay, what else have we got here? Hold on, let me go back to where people sent in their questions because we've got a ton of those. Okay, so Jody Ross. She typically loves reds and burnt orange colors. However, lately she can't get enough of yellow. Yellow, aside from needing more joy in my life, what else does yellow represent? And she's adding some fun touches of yellow in her kitchen.
So I had no idea yellow was so popular. This is the #1 question. We get voicemails, emails, tweets, comments. Why wasn't yellow? I had no idea yellow was such a popular color. So guys, I'm bringing you yellow. So yellow is similar. It's rooted in gold because it's a mental color, but I typically call it the color of higher intellect. And the reason for that is I always see yellow around someone that was a double major. So, you know, maybe they were an art major and also English or law or something like that. Or it's someone that's very skilled in 2 things. So maybe you're an accountant, but you have a band over the weekend, and a yellow person will create this pressure that they're supposed to choose one thing. You don't have to. It's juggling multiple things that make a yellow person happy. The reason we call it higher intellect is yellow people tend to be quite smart. So the brain wants to be challenged. It's nothing for a yellow person to take a summer course. They feel stimulated to take up a new instrument, to be trilingual, whatever it is. Yellow people really love that mental stimulation. The other thing about yellow is it's the color of accountability. If you're drawn to a lot of yellow right now, there's been a goal or something that you want to achieve that you think a lot about, but it's not getting the time it deserves. So when yellow starts popping up in your life, it's the universe's way of saying, hey, we see you, we see your intention, we see your desire, give it more attention, it deserves it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I didn't get to the second part of Shani's question, and I'm just seeing it now. For some reason, it didn't pop up for me.
Okay.
So she's talking about her son who's partially colorblind. He's very high strung. He's very intelligent. Can you give her advice as to what to do to enrich his life? Like what colors might be supportive for him? Very anxious, high strung.
It's funny, Shani, the sense that I get is that your son is not going to resonate with the idea of color therapy or that kind of work. The first thing that comes to mind is your son doing some sort of physical exercise in conjunction with being mindful or spirituality. So that could be Tai Chi, that could be yoga, that could be cycling, whatever it is, but he needs to get out of his head. I think the idea of visualizing color and grounding it through your body, he would get too technical with it. And so this is what I love about the world of self-help and spirituality. There are so many different modalities out there. Dan Millman wrote a great book called The Warrior Athlete that I think would really resonate with him. But getting him in his body to feel present and grounded seems more important right now than color energy.
She wrote, yes, he does. Wow. Yeah. Very cool. So I've got a question. This is kind of an interesting one. This is from Kayla, and she's blind. And she can't really see colors. So her question is, can I use essential oils to smell instead of colors around me?
100%. Essential oils are a great version of a color prop. So a color prop is when we bring in anything physical or any other element to really heighten the awareness. So if I'm working a lot with orange, I love to diffuse orange in the house. If I feel like I need to uplift my energy, the mere act of putting mint in tea helps connect me to that. You can do it with sound. I had one student once who said that she would taste the colors. And to be quite honest with you, Liz, I remember in my head being like, oh boy, and thinking like, because I just never heard of that before, but that's another form of synesthesia. Your brain will process information. Some people smell, some people hear, I see. So absolutely try and engage any sense, whichever sense you lead with. So if your eyesight is impaired in any way, go to sound. If you want to go to scent, whatever you want, lead with that scent and let the energy expand from there.
Perfect. Oh, Danielle, you're going to have to go back and listen to the video.
Yeah.
She said she's drawn to black lady. That's actually my event assistant.
but it's interesting to me, Danielle, how many people say that as a joke, that they think it's a bad thing. And so I sort of go back to, this sort of goes to like female energy. So gold is considered a masculine energy. It's really easy to see. It's connected to the sun. Earth tones are connected to the goddess. And right now, a lot of female voices need to be highlighted more. Yeah. So it's almost like our brains think that it's, it must be something terrible. No, this is goddess energy. This is tribal energy. This is the earth. This is the planet. Like, it's never bad. It's beautiful and super, super helpful.
Oh, and I know that Danielle has just started really to support her artistic side, and she's been doing a lot of photography lately. So it makes sense that she's drawn to black.
Yeah, and Danielle, if you are grounding something new, right? If you're maybe hesitating with sharing it with the world, black or gray or brown are a great color to say, I'm literally earthing my idea. I'm allowed to be seen. I'm celebrating my creativity, another expression of divine feminine energy. Let that energy be seen because you deserve to shine.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, so I've got a couple of questions here. One is, we read the Ruby Red, the team. Our team read the Ruby Red chapter together. And yeah. we did that. We came on and did a Facebook Live, and we talked all about Ruby Red.
My favorite.
And loves the part about movies. What emotionally charged movies do you go to activate your emotional energy?
So gosh. So I mean, I go to some of the basics. I mean, Steel Magnolias gets me every time.
Oh no.
My favorite movie of all time, though, is Defending Your Life. Do you know that movie?
Albert Brooks.
Yes, and and Meryl Streep is in it, and it's for everybody. If you've never watched it before, it's a Hollywood portrayal. Don't get me wrong, but it's an interesting portrayal of what happens when we make our transition. There's a moment of life review. There's a moment where we look at our fear. It gives me chills. That movie makes me laugh. That movie makes me cry. That movie makes my heart swell. It is one of my all-time favorites. So that's a good one for me. But yeah, I love memoirs. I love personal stories. Any of those things where I feel like I'm connecting with someone's journey and I understand them, I'm all in.
Oh, I love it. So do you feel like doing a couple of readings? Can I
Yeah,
just
sure, I'd love to. Yeah.
I just need to ask them if they want a reading first, right?
Yeah.
To make sure it's okay.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, that's a good movie too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, if you would like a little reading from Dougall, I don't know how he's going to do this, but it's going to be so cool.
We're gonna try.
Just say, yes, me. Oh, I knew Janice would be first.
So I guess in this sense, what would help is if you have a color that you're drawn to, because usually the way that I connect is by hearing the sound of someone's voice. So if you can give me like a quick question or color that you're drawn to, that would help.
Okay, so Janice, what color are you drawn to? Oh,
yeah.
I can tell you that.
You already know.
So, right, if you would like a reading, then also put down your color that you're drawn to. Okay, and I know that she's drawn to. Well, I don't know what she's drawn to lately. I know she loves pink. I know she loves green.
This way we can do it for multiple people.
Okay.
Okay. So Janice said green. So let's talk to everybody right now who's drawn to green. If you're drawn to green right now, we're quite literally looking at expression. We're looking at the creative part of your being, especially with what's going on in the world right now. It's interesting to me how creative people are getting. Everybody and their mother's baking bread. Everybody's working in their yard. Everybody's starting to paint again. They want to be expressive. My niece started painting. She's never expressed interest in painting before. So if you are drawn to green right now, that's because we're approaching a Renaissance period. Throughout history, whenever there has been a challenge on the planet, which we're experiencing right now, afterwards, so much beautiful art is born from that. So if you're drawn to green right now, the artist inside of you is waking up. You might want to check like The Artist's Way. You might want to break out your paints, listen to more music, cook, whatever it is. But the artist archetype is asking you to lead right now. And that's because it's a form of healing.
Well, what's interesting is that we had a staff meeting before this, and Janice was sharing that she was buying all these crafts, and she was doing all these kinds of crafty things.
Yeah, so that's...
And she took out her craft bucket, and then a snake appeared, like a real live snake appeared.
Oh, really? Oh, that's my big my big fear. Even though that's my astrological sign and Chinese horoscope.
I can't stand snakes either. We get them here in the desert. Okay, so let me go up. Okay, I'm going to have to go over here to where the names are. Okay, so Vi's saying she's drawn. Violetta, she's drawn to blue. Think sandy beach. In my hair and black for clothing lately.
So let's go with the blue because you led with the blue and lots of other people put blue. So if you're looking at blue, what we want right now is truth. We want authentic energy, even if it stings. If I'm around someone that has a lot of blue in their aura, they're very candid, they're very direct. A blue person will say, that's not a great shirt for you, let's go find a better fit. They want the best for you. If you're drawn to blue right now, you are a seeker of truth. I'm going to say this as delicately as possible. There are a lot of untruths on the planet right now. There's a lot of there's a lot of mixed information. There's a lot of loud noises. So if you're drawn to blue right now, there's a part of you that's like, I want truth. I want honesty, even if it stings, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it makes me feel a little nervous. That's okay because it's real and it's grounding. So if you're drawn to blue right now, you want to make sure that you're connecting with authentic friends. You want to make sure that you're getting information from an authentic source. And you want to make sure that you're in alignment with truth.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You got that vibe? Okay, so we've got a lot of people saying we've got two colors. We've got purple. We've got turquoise. So why don't we start with purple? Because I got a lot of purples here.
So purple is leadership, right? If you're drawn to purple right now, the universe is inviting you to sort of stand tall. The universe is inviting you to step into the leadership position. Now, true leaders empower other people to be leaders. If you're drawn to purple right now, you've been thinking outside of your backyard. You've been thinking about the planet. You've been thinking about a way that you can make a difference. So homework assignment for anybody drawn to purple right now, whether it's a donation or checking in with a friend or providing some information for someone, see if you can step into that leadership quality right now. See if you can join that grid of energy on the planet of other light workers that are trying their best to make a difference, because that's sort of the essence of purple. And you can do it. Believe in yourself. Being a leader doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. Being a leader means we want to learn, we want to grow, we want to change, and we want to connect with other people.
Oh, that's so perfect. Okay, I see a lot of turquoise coming up here.
So turquoise is one of the colors of ascension. So lots of spiritual teachers have different sort of definitions of what it means to be ascended. Ascension to me means you've had a spiritual awakening. You have the awareness that there is something bigger going on, bigger than our life, bigger than what's just in front of us. If you start getting to some of the colors of ascension, magenta is another one of them, turquoise, these are high vibrations because they're helping you move through something big. Turquoise is considered the color of kindness and, more importantly, forgiveness. Now, I'm a sexual abuse survivor. Turquoise came to me when I was really working on forgiving my perpetrator. Now, forgiveness does not justify behavior. It doesn't justify the action, but it is saying to my higher self and my being, I don't want to carry this anger with me. I don't want to carry the heaviness with me. So turquoise quite literally raises your vibration so high because the pain is so big that you can see it from a divine perspective. If you have been betrayed, if you have gone through something that's challenging right now, if you had to forgive someone for a very, very big hurt, turquoise lets you rise above the third dimension, see whatever wisdom there may be, which does not justify the pain, does not justify the action, but it helps you move forward. It's a powerful, powerful color.
I love that. I love that. I have a meditation space, a meditation room, and I painted the entire ceiling. I thought I was nuts, turquoise.
No, I love it. Well, I've always had a hard time trying to decide, why is it different? These colors raise the vibration, so that's why I say it's a color of ascension. So you're knowing to put it on the ceiling, right? That this is sort of like a holy color. This is a divine color. It's of the divine spectrum, is a really great knowing.
Yeah, I honestly had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted turquoise and purple.
Right. I love it.
All right. Okay, this is just okay. Anything else? Let me see. There's so there's just all kinds of great comments in here that I'm kind of scrolling through, and everybody's kind of affirming what you're saying in terms of the color that they chose. Okay, so one other color. Let's try pink. Because Janice, and I know that you talk that a lot. That's a lot about self-love.
You know, and pink was a hard chapter for me to write. You know, one of the things that I wrote about in the chapter of pink was that when I was younger, I did steroids to look better. And here I was, the spiritual teacher who's buying things, you know, in the back alley of a mall to feel better about myself. I've been an overweight kid. And so pink is about self-care. It's about self-love. The shadow side of it, we'll talk about our self-criticism. And I just remember this moment of all of this pink energy when I was about to do something terrible to my body. And I say that too because I do identify as a spiritual teacher. I'm lucky to sort of talk about meditation and talk about energy and connect with people. But I have had moments before where I just didn't feel good enough. And in my early 20s, single, I wanted to be that gay guy with the big muscles, and I'm not. You know, I'm the cute, lanky gay guy, and that's okay. But pink really helped me love the natural form of my body. You know, I'm 6'6", so I'm constantly crouching and moving through things. My body's been sort of a unique lesson for me. And pink has really helped me love it. If you're drawn to pink, this is about self-care. This is about seeing the beauty inside of you. I say this every time with pink energy. The universe wants you to see yourself the way they see us. That is absolutely perfect in this moment.
Oh, that feels so right with pink. That just feels so right. Okay, so Tanya has a question. She said, I like certain shades of green and am put off by other shades. The same is true for many colors. Why is that? Is there something she should do about it?
What was the first color she was put off by?
She's put off by, she likes certain shades of green, but then she's put off by other shades of green.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can relate. Yeah, I think we can all relate to like there's like some colors within a color that we don't like.
So if you're put off by a color, that's one you want to let sit. You want to sit and simmer with for a while. So if you're put off by green, we want to look at the current state of communication in your life. Do you feel like people are listening to you? Do you feel like you have the space to express your most authentic self? If green is giving you strange feelings, there's a part of you that likes it, there's a part of you that's being put off by it. I would imagine, this is just a guess, that there are some people in your life you feel super connected and safe to be your most authentic self. And then there are other people where that's a little bit of a challenge. And perhaps we should be nurturing the relationships that really make you feel validated, really make you feel seen. And the other ones might sort of fall away a little bit.
Okay. All right. Someone's asking about an aversion to pink.
Yeah, so pink, you might be self-critical. You might be a little bit of a perfectionist if you have an aversion to pink. By the way, totally a perfectionist. I get it. I'm on board. But usually, if someone is challenged by pink, they would rather help other people than help themselves. So pink reminds us that we also have to make our self-care a priority. I think that's interesting what Janet said about Colette Baron-Reid, because she's right about that.
Yeah. She was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I adore, the book is dedicated to Colette. I adore her. Because she was the one in Seattle that was like, you need to write this.
I love Colette. Colette, I call her. Colette. Yes. Oh, but this has been so much fun. This has just been so much fun. Okay, so accurate it hurts. Someone just said. So
and that's it. So someone just said, I think men see pink as a female color. And what's interesting about traveling the world, like when I go to Japan, it's totally normal for a man to wear like pink pants or to carry like a pink bag that we would see as a purse in the United States. So it's true that cultures, countries, nations have different relationships with pink. But you're right about that. It's interesting in other colors, though, how they perceive it.
So what would help? This is a great question, Lillian. I'm so glad you asked this. Her son is depressed over pandemic isolation, completely, you know, I get it.
Yeah.
Really get it. What color is good for depression to help us feel a little bit, you know, lighter, brighter, easier to move this through this thing easier, I guess.
So first of all, for everybody watching right now, if you have had a moment of depression or a bout of anxiety, in my opinion, that is completely healthy and necessary. I sort of find it curious when I talk to people right now who say, no, nothing's changed. I feel great, because I think, are you tuned into what's going on? So it's completely normal to have big feelings right now. Not only that, I think the universe wants us to have big feelings. When we have big feelings, this is when we grow and this is when we change. So let's talk about Ruby Red, which is a powerful chapter. Ruby Red is about honoring all emotions. When we tap into the emotional structure of our being, we're going to feel bouts of joy and ecstasy and passion. We're also going to feel moments of sorrow and sadness and loss. So for your son, if he wants to tune into that color, it's going to teach him to identify both. If you're leaning right now towards the heaviness, right, some of the concerns, some of the anxiety that's going on in the world, we need to program our brain to search for the light. So an exercise I give a lot with Ruby Red is to track simple joys. We're always looking for these grand expressions of joys. But to me, this morning I woke up and the birds were chirping in my yard and it was really sweet, and our dog was fully cuddled in the middle of us because there's no other better position. Those are simple joys, and I write those things down. I made a fried rice last night that could change lives. It was incredible, simple joy. So I write it down to program myself to recognize that, yeah, there are some concerns on the planet, there's some fear, there's some heavy emotion, as there should be, but there's also joy. When we engage in red, when we engage in emotion, we can't just pick the ones we want to engage with. I don't think that's how it works. If we're prepared for all of them, it doesn't throw us from our center as much.
Perfect. So yes, get some Ruby Red, she's asking. Yeah. That's perfect. Okay. I think this has been just amazing.
This has been so fun.
So much fun. And I just quickly, first of all, I want to thank you so much. The book is amazing.
Thank you.
Love, 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 love. And when I meet you in person, you're going to sign my book for
me. I would love to. That would be my honor.
And you have to come to a live Celebrate Your Life event. When we're able to do this, like in person live again, you and Radley, and yes, we're going to have we're just going to have a huge party, you guys.
I see it. It's going to be great.
Do a live event. We are really going to have a huge party because that's what our live events are about. We have so much to learn from you. We've got so much to activate with our colors, with our energy. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Liz. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for all your questions and all your energetic support. I appreciate it.
Yes. And before we go, I just want to announce our next month's book. Okay. And Tanya, you're going to go ahead and put the link to it. So the next month's book is The Energy Codes by Dr. Sue Morter. And Tanya, go ahead and post that really quickly for everybody. So it's The Energy Codes by Dr. Sue Morter, and you want to pick that up right away because it's a longer book and we might need a little bit more time for it than just a month. But there, Tanya just posted the link to it, you guys. So make sure and just go grab The Energy Codes. That's for next month. And Janice wants to know if you are going to write another book.
I'm writing another book. There was one book that I was sort of a topic that I was asked to write about that wasn't quite working for me. So I'm really into empathy right now and empowering empaths to be balanced, sensitive people. And so I'm working on this whole concept of energy management right now because that's sort of my passion at the moment.
Oh, love that. And we all need that because we're all empaths feeling each other's energy.
Exactly.
All right, you guys, thank you all so much for joining us. From my heart to yours, I'm so grateful for this community and so grateful that you joined us today, Dougall. This was such a fantastic conversation. I'm so excited about it. And will you come back and be with us again?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay,
anytime.
Good. All right. Bye, everybody. Mwah.